My dear Bagginses and Buffins.
By the blood of our people, are your lands kept safe?
I see in your eyes the same fear that will take the heart of me.
So do all who live to see such times.
By all that you hold dear, this good earth.
There's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting.
Welcome back, everyone. We are bringing you once again a Rings of Power episode. We're talking about Season 2, Episode 7, the penultimate episode, Doomed to Die. And as predicted, I'm not going to say it that big of a prediction, but as predicted, this was the big battle episode. We knew it was coming prior to this season being released. We knew there was going to be a big battle episode. We had talked about that before. We hadn't gotten one up until this episode. And so it's either now or the finale, and Game of Thrones has set the bar that this is the episode where you put these big battles in right before the ending. And I will say, off the top, people are considering this the best episode so far of the entire show. And I don't know if I disagree, but I find that a lot of TV and movie battles these days don't impress me as much as they used to. And so I do have some issues with the battle. But it might actually be the best also in terms of storytelling. I'm curious to hear what you think about that before we dive in. Did you get, when you were watching that, did you have that feeling that this is the best episode so far?
I mean, I liked Celebrimbor this episode. I thought, this is the him figuring it out and
this is
making a stand, and we're seeing the strength of his character
actually
rise to the occasion, and so I'm gonna miss him.
Well, and also and we've talked about this with the trilogy, where you don't always have battle the entire episode or the entire movie, and you're cutting back and forth between other characters who are struggling in their own way. And I think that was what Celebrimbor was doing in this episode. And I think the actor and the writers handled his character pretty well in terms of balancing. He's got his own struggles. He's not on the battlefield, but he's got his own struggles that he's overcoming. And I agree. Honestly, the biggest twist for me was going from hating this character to thinking he might be one of the better characters in the show.
Yeah, he was kind of goofy in season 1.
Right. So he was he was goofy in a cheesy way that made me not want him in the scene. It kind of took away from the scene. But now, I do think when he was given the proper material, he actually delivered. He made me care about his character and his arc and his inner turmoil way more than I was caring about most other characters this season. So I gotta give props to that. I didn't think it could be done. I was saying basically get rid of this character, if you remember, at the end of season 1. I was like, we don't need him. We brought him in cameo style. Here's Celebrimbor. Get rid of him. But now I regret that he's really pulling it off here. But I guess we should jump in, because that is not the only thing that's happening here. But we do start with him.
We start with him in Mind Paradise, I wrote, but he's enjoying his morning cup of tea or coffee, whatever else drink, and he's relaxed, and he goes back into his lab.
Yeah. I will say that this scene, I think, maybe could have been a bit more dreamlike. Like, we already know that it's a dream, you know what I mean? So I think there could have been more signs, for us, and make it seem like make the audience fully a part of the fact that it's fake. The way I think I would have done it is had cut to. I don't think we ever truly see him looking out at what's happening in a region and not seeing it. You know what I mean? We always see it from his perspective, and so it looks beautiful to us too. I think it would have been a cool dichotomy to see him kind of just smiling whimsically outwards as like utter chaos is erupting around the city.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I thought that would have been a cool like he's gone type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that's what it would look like to the outsider. Like, why is our leader
that's
insane?
exactly, and that's so, like I'm trying to like imagine like when we get to the ending of this episode, we'll talk about it there too. But even if Celebrimbor comes back and talks to me and I'm an elf and he's like I was bewitched or whatever, you gotta believe me. It's really hard to get the image of my leader looking out across the battlefield as we lose this battle and just smiling about it, like in a weird like twisted way. Like he's not even he has no feeling about the death that's happening around him because he doesn't see it. And so it'd be really hard as an elf to like overcome that bias now. Like I don't trust this guy. What if he's crazy now? Like what if he's tricking like me now? Like I don't know. So I think it would have been a cool dichotomy, but we do get a moment of it with the mirror, right? So he's working on these rings, and we get that moment when he looks up into the mirror that's on his desk, and he sees that he's not all put together. He's actually looking pretty haggard as he's making these rings.
Yeah, because he's noticing weird things like the missing gem and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got the missing gem. The mouse is like on like a loop. The candles never burn out. That kind of stuff. So he is starting to put it together. But like I said, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that. But the mirror shot's pretty cool. And I will say that some of the other cool shots here, I don't know if it happens right here. I can't remember. But the shots of Sauron walking the battlements.
Yep.
He always. I think the actor did a pretty good job there of looking like he's orchestrated this whole thing because he has. So those are always fun scenes too. But I think we jump from here right to Adar.
Adar says it is time, and then you have Anatar
kind of like walking
around. He says, "Oh, Celebrimbor is refusing to order a counterattack, but we will disobey him."
Yeah.
So he's like really undermining Celebrimbor big time.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy
and
how
I will take command. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how no matter what happens, it's like it doesn't even matter. Like he doesn't even have to say that. He could have given it to Celebrimbor a little bit, but no matter what, he's always gonna undercut it. He's always gonna be like, Celebrimbor is an idiot. He wants to do this, and we're doing this. So it's always fun to see him like behind his back doing this, and I'm taking command of the defenses. And then we get this fun. I mean, I don't know how much this character is going to be in it for the long term, the Merdania character, but we get this fun like, you know what I mean?
Foreshadowing.
Well, like, so Sauron, or Anatar as they know him, he goes, "I'm taking command," and then the elf that's there is like, "Yes, thank you. Praise the valor," or something like that. And then Merdania goes, "What is it you're not telling us?" And Sauron's got this devious plan, and he's like, he almost looks at her like, "Oh, you see right through me. I can't hide anything from you. Celebrimbor's mind is gone." And like, I don't know. It has this like, that he could have just like told her nothing's wrong. He always gives her this like little extra like nudge, like Celebrimbor's mind's gone. We are alone. We have to fend for ourselves, type of thing. And like she kind of like reaches for him, and it's like, we're not alone. We've got you and all this stuff. Oh, and I think this is where he's got the line, "You have proven your quality, Merdania." Yes. That's a fun line. You've proven your quality.
Which is also, I guess Sam says that to Faramir.
Yeah.
And you also have when it goes silent, you have "Come on, you maggots," and I like
Oh,
that.
do you? Oh man, I missed
Yep,
that. Okay,
the orcs are
that's
when
good.
they're moving the siege engines. "Come on, you
And see,
maggots."
the thing is, I don't even consider that like a true quote because like I could just see them saying that time and time
Of course,
again.
I mean that's an appropriate dialogue to
Yeah,
drop. It's fine to use that
yeah, exactly. So
because it fits in any context. They probably say that all the time.
yeah, they that's probably like just like how we say like buddy or guy or whatever. Just like, come on, you maggots, get over here. um, yeah. So okay. One thing about this, I don't want to get like bogged down on this. One thing that's always intrigued me is the mechanical engineering that the orcs seem to have, both here and in the original trilogy, to make these contraptions. Now, perhaps it's like Adar who like actually like planned them out, but still, to actually build these massive trebuchets and catapults, I have to say like that's pretty good from what I would expect, orcs and stuff capable of.
Yeah,
Maybe that's my racism talking because I don't really like the orcs, but I don't expect them to be able to make these machines, and yet here they are. So, uh, yeah, I always find it fun to see what kind of machines they're going to come up with in these battles. But yeah. So we've just got the orcs. They're kind of like maneuvering the catapults to shoot to fire at a different angle. And at first, it's not exactly clear what's happening. And honestly, I thought there's a better way of going about this. I kind of find that there's almost too much randomness and luck associated with this plan of Adar's. Because what he's going to do is he's going to shoot rocks from his catapults into a mountain, causing an avalanche to block a river.
hmm
And I would have thought you could have just sent some orcs over there to start, like, chiseling away with pickaxes. It might be easier to, like, more accurately predict where the stuff's going to fall. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
just seems like it's kind of, like, you might have to fire a lot of rocks before you hit the exact ones you need to cause that blockage. But it's a good plan, because I was wondering, are we gonna see like a bridge battle or whatever? Because like there's just one lone tiny
Yeah,
bridge.
you kind of Mulan'd it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Instead of shooting the target, he shoots the mountain. To
Yeah,
cause
how could you miss? He was 5 feet in front of you. um, but all in all, good plan. I do like this plan from Adar strategically. Because it's
And Anatar knows right away what he's gonna do too.
Yeah.
Because he's prepared for ground assault, and I was like, "What do you mean? There's a river."
yeah,
But-
I know.
But Sauron knows what's up.
So when I was watching this, I was like the elves. I was caught up in it. I was like, what the hell does Anatar mean? Prepare for ground assault. There's one bridge that
Yeah.
we can easily defend. Why would we prepare? What ground assault? So I was caught up in it too, and I think it's almost like a Sauron letting it slip moment. Like he knows what's gonna happen, and so he says it, and he's like, "Oh shoot, they haven't dammed the river yet. Just give it a second, guys. Give it a second. Prepare for ground assault, but just you'll see why." So yeah, while the river is being dammed up, we are still like we cut. This is really.
We also see a Rondir arrive.
That's right.
He kind of over the ridge.
I was gonna say, like, there's a lot of cutting back and forth between a lot of things happen in a quick succession in this episode, so it is sometimes hard to like jump back and forth as we talk about it. But yeah, so Rondir arrives to see that unfold, and then we jump right back into the with Celebrimbor in
Yes.
his workshop. As he's starting to, this is where he's really starting to notice some strange things happening. He starts marking candle positions. He notices the mouse doing the exact same motion time and time again, and so he's catching on.
He's testing the illusion.
Yeah. And so after that, we get to go to the Dwarven realms in Khazad-dûm. And okay, this is where, I mean, we've talked about the fact that these rings shouldn't have this much of a hold on the. I mean, I don't think they should have this much hold
They shouldn't.
on
Yeah,
the dwarves. So King Durin III, he's not only is he like corrupted by the rings more than we thought, but he's dumb. So his whole plan here is, oh, we're not gonna help them. They're more desperate than we thought. They'll offer more. What the? They're gonna be dead. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point in time where you just wait too long and the offer falls apart, and that's this moment. They offered you everything already, and you said no. There's more. There's not more. Like, I don't even know what the heck he's talking about. And then he's like, we need to take back this mine now, from my son. I don't understand why that hasn't happened yet, because it's just Disa and Durin the Fourth. Now maybe you could argue that the soldiers of Khazad-dûm don't want to harm the prince and the princess, and so they're hesitant to like go in there because they don't want to fight back and they don't want to get hurt. So like they're hesitant to like just engage.
Yeah.
But that is not the dwarves that I saw previously when the prince Durin the Fourth was working as just a lowly miner and got punched in the face. So I didn't think they had any problem punching princes in Khazad-dûm. So I'm surprised it's taken so long. This is part of my issue with the episode. Not that this isn't a great episode, but we jumped, like, we had established a conflict, and now I'm kind of confused as to how it's prolonged. Like, what has happened in the interim? Have there been negotiations? Have there been other attempts for the miners to go back to work? Have they maybe started digging elsewhere? Like, I don't know. All we know is we need to reopen that one particular mine, and it's still being blocked by the prince and the princess, and the king isn't having it.
Yeah, there shouldn't be many mines. It's kind of a plot hole.
So that's sort of what I was getting at. Is like, as much as I want.
How can two people block one? Like, this is the only shaft that's relevant. Let's go dig somewhere else.
Right. That's my not and the battles might be great. Like, we'll get to those, but like these moments where they need this storyline to catch up with what's going on right outside their walls, essentially, like their borders almost. I know it's like a week or whatever, but there's stuff happening in their vicinity that they need to be a part of potentially. And so they sped up the writing here where we just jumped, and it's like, how long have they been barricading it? Why aren't they digging other mines? Khazad-dûm's massive. They're just standing in one little hole. Just go dig around. Like, I don't know. How have they not been how are they not been just, captured and brought before the king already? He doesn't seem very patient right now. So I'm just confused as to like what's going on there. Which is partly why I say yes, I love this episode. It's probably the best, but I still have issues with it. Because here he's yelling at Narvi, the king is in this scene. They're like, we need to dig in this mine. We've waited too long. Now go get him. And then I mean we're gonna get it right here, but Narvi shows up with his company of miners, and we now see that he too has switched allegiances. He now sees through King Durin III's corruption and realizes this guy is crazy right now, and it is the ring. So you got that kind of twist, but again, what I wish we got more Narvi here, because I think there would have been a cool, like, he himself is struggling, just like Durin the Fourth is struggling with like overthrowing his own father. Narvi's also struggling with like what I'm about to do is kind of treason. And now I'm asking all my fellow miners to commit treason, and like, there could have been some cool scenes there, but because we have to speed up to catch up to the elf storyline, we kind of just rush past a lot of what could be cool moments that I guess kind of takes a bit of a back seat. The dwarves take a bit of a back seat here, which is not great. But yeah, you see in this scene, you've got Durin the Fourth and Disa both with axes, and they're about to fight. They're about to throw down with Narvi and these miners. This is insane. Like, I don't understand how this has been allowed to go on like this, and that fact that this is actually happening. Because there's no way they win this.
No, there's not. You're right. Two
So-
people, it can't stop the whole dwarven army.
So when we think about it from Princess Disa and Durin and Prince Durin's plan, it was block this mine. When the miners come, we threaten them. They'll run to my father. He will tell them to come get us again, and that will show them that he's crazy and that he is no longer fit to rule. Right? Like, that's the plan.
That was the plan. Yeah, he's gonna look crazy going after us.
But to me, that's not even that crazy.
It's not that crazy at all.
My son's the one being crazy, blocking...
You have two dissidents blocking a mine shaft. Get them out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, like, to me, the crazy people are Durin and Disa, because they haven't even explained why they're doing this. All they've done is had some bats fly towards them, and then they bring these axes up, like, bring it on, and it's like, okay, have you guys even explained that there's, like, monsters or whatnot down there? Or no? Or, like, I just wish we got more, but... So Narvi says, we stand with you, and this is the moment when Durin the Fourth is going to have to essentially take the reins here and rally the dwarfs of Khazad-dûm.
Like a coup.
Yeah, but while we're cooing our dad, there is an elf outside that wishes to speak with us.
Yeah.
But he's been banished. He's not allowed in the city. He's been banished from all Dwarven lands, I should point out. Not just Khazad-dûm. All Dwarven lands. Which maybe explains why Elrond didn't join them in the original trilogy. But yeah.
Yeah, not allowed in there.
Yeah. That's a deleted scene of them asking, hey Elrond, you've been to Mount Doom, you've done this, do you want to maybe tag along and show us where to go? Sorry, I can't go through Moria, because I was banished and I was never reinstated, because I have a bit of falling out with both Durin the Third and Durin the Fourth, as we will soon see. So Elrond shows up, and he's the one bringing the news and bringing the dwarves back into the main storyline this season, which is Eregion's under attack. We need your help. I thought that everyone already knew this, so that's why I was kind of confused. Like, I like the scene, don't get me wrong. I like that we get Elrond and Durin again. Those two together are great. Great together on camera. But I thought the dwarves already know that Eregion's under attack. At least Durin the Third knows. I just assumed all these guys did, but maybe they don't. So Elrond's here now pleading with him to essentially either convince your father to send troops, or as he finds out, like, because they had this little, Gimli Legolas one-upping each other, like, oh, I've had such a troubling week. No, I've had such a troubling week. And then, like, they talk about, what issues they've been dealing with since they last spoke. And so that's when Elrond finds out that Durin the Fourth is currently in the midst of cooing his own dad to take back control. And I actually have a question for you, because I'm not even convinced it's a full-on coup. It sounds like they just want to remove the ring, which it actually kind of is a bit more heartfelt than a traditional, like, I just thought he would coup him and, like, be done with it. But no, he it seems like he just wants to remove the ring and then reinstate his dad. Is that the sense you got, or do you feel like it's, no, I will take over, it's my dad's time to step back?
I'm not sure.
Because you see what I mean, right? Durin the Fourth is very hesitant about going against his dad. It's a very tough thing for him to do. And they constantly talk about the fact that it's the ring that's causing this. So in my mind, it was, all we have to do is get the ring off of him, and then he can become king again. But until then, during the Fourth is going to have to assume command of Khazad-dûm. That was sort of my sense of it, but it's hard to say exactly. We'll have to wait and see how it's handled, because we don't spend too long with the dwarves at all this episode. We literally jump right from that scene when Elrond shows up to orcs charging across a dried up river, as they make for a ground assault on Eregion.
Yep, and the elves are shooting arrows, and the orcs are rolling up with some contraption. Oh, they call that. Didn't she had a word for that? Mordania had a word for it.
Yeah, what the heck was it? It was
the destroyer or something like that. It's not that though. I know it's not that.
It's also a weird contraption. So
Destructor? A destructor?
yeah, like a destroyer or something like that. But is it just me, or is it just a weird, like, what the heck is the purpose?
Right, you already have trebuchets, yeah. So what's this?
So this is my okay. So now we're gonna get, and we'll probably come back to this because I have a lot of issues with battles these days. Okay, you just pointed out they already have trebuchets. We know they have ladders. This device is pointless. It really is.
You basically hammer into the wall and then it pulls it.
Right.
It pulls at the bricks.
But the problem is, first of all, you gotta lug this machine, which is not even clear how this machine works exactly. It's kind of wonky. But you have to lug this machine across... Oh, it's a Ravager, by the way.
The Ravager, okay.
Which, I don't know how they came up with a name for a machine that doesn't make any sense so quickly. So the orcs have a Ravager. And I don't understand. You have to lug this machine across a wet battlefield, mind you. Right? It's a wet, dried up river that just dried up. So it's muddy and kind of like quicksandy, like you get stuck in it. They're wheeling this gigantic thing across this river under heavy fire. Then they have to get up to the wall. Now, luckily for them, the elves don't seem to use any sort of wall defenses that, like, if you got up to the wall, you seem to be okay. There's no, like, boiling oil, rocks, any of that stuff. So if you can get to the wall, you seem to be okay. But still, to lug this machine when you could just have ladders or just continue the trebuchet fire while your forces move across, the trebuchets are going to hit the wall, causing the elves to either get knocked off the wall or hide and not be able to shoot. So you're basically giving cover fire to your own orcs. So this is where, like, the battle starts to take a weird
You're right, and
turn.
the trebuchets don't seem to have any like they're like destroying buildings in the city, but the trebuchets seem to have no effect on the wall.
That's right, and it's an issue I've had with I even have it with the Peter Jackson trilogy, but that one there's a bit more of an explanations there, and we can maybe talk about it at some date.
Oh yeah, because they still have to go through the gate in the I never thought about it in the Peter Jackson one.
Yeah, so there is still some of it there, but it's more understandable there, based on, like, kind of what happens throughout the battle and, like, the eagerness of Sauron and all these other forces. Here, this is Adar, who has been besieging Eregion for a little while now, but not doing too much. Now, you could argue maybe that the catapults and trebuchets aren't, like, the walls of the city are too strong. They have, like, dwarven craftsmanship or something, and they're too strong. But then, is this Ravager really going to be able to do it then? Like, if the catapults can't do it, could this machine do it? I think you just go to traditional...
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, like, that's the only explanation I have for, like, why it's even a thing. I would just go to traditional ladders. Send your laddermen in, and then get your spearmen on the wall,
Take the gate.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so...
Or, like, why not, like, a battering ram?
Why not a traditional battering ram as well? But now, I guess you could say that there's no... Because you're on the riverbed, maybe you're lower down and, like, you can't reach the... I don't know. Like, this siege... They've been sieging this for a while, I guess. Or at least some nights. And they haven't really done much. And then they block the river. And now it's just a weird, like... I don't feel that Adar had a proper plan for once he dammed the river. Is my complaint here. But we're gonna get back to that because we gotta quickly jump back over, and this is the confrontation between Celebrimbor and Sauron, because this is where Celebrimbor. So Sauron comes in and sees Celebrimbor kind of acting a little off, because he's doing that classic thing where it's like, look at this, look, this thing, the candle hasn't burned at all, and then look at this. Now, if we had,
This isn't a loop.
if we had, I honestly think that it would have been a fun idea to not show us Celebrimbor. I mean, you'd have to rewrite the whole show, but it would be a fun idea if Celebrimbor wasn't a main character, and we just show up to his workshop as Merdania, and he starts to go like, look at this. This candle hasn't burned at all in the last 3 hours. Look at this mouse. I saw him just an hour ago. And look at over here. And you're just like, whoa, this dude is insane.
There isn't even a mouse there.
Yeah.
And there's no candle.
Yeah, why do you look like absolute shit, Celebrimbor? What's going on? So I think that would have been fun, but because we know what's going on, we're with him on this. We know he's not crazy. Instead, Anatar's like trying to like downplay it a little bit, but it's this has got to be one of his weakest moments. I mean, maybe it's kind of a not weakness, but like, you know what? It's time that I reveal myself, because he instead of denying it or like saying you're crazy or saying, hey, you need some rest, old friend, he just goes, you sought peace and I gave it to you. So like he immediately, Sauron immediately comes clean, is like, yeah, I have done this. And then that's when Celebrimbor is like, oh, this is not a messenger of the Valar, because no messenger of the Valar would trick someone into such a weird, like they're trapped in their own mind and are not even seeing the world around them. That's something that a villain would do.
Yeah.
And that's when he clues into him. I mean, he even says, "Who are you truly?" I think Celebrimbor knows. He just wants to hear it because he almost can't believe that it's happened. Yeah, I actually really like this scene because you get Charlie Vickers as Anatar / Sauron. He actually gets to like be Sauron here. Because before he has a hard job. He has to play a dude, pretending to be a dude, and like, but also like keep that like smirky evilness kind of going for the audience. Like there's a lot going on for his acting there. Here he gets to just full on go Sauron. Now I want the 9. Give them to me. Like he just like he's deranged. Celebrimbor throws a hammer at him, which shatters the illusion. So it's just a fun scene. Now, I was kind of confused about how this shattered the illusion. I guess because like Sauron isn't like he's almost like putting him in a video game where not the entire world is rendered, and so when Celebrimbor breaks the glass of his tower,
He escapes the simulation.
He escapes the simulation. I thought it was a fun way to do it. I'm not sure if I like how I would do it. I kind of, because now we don't get a scene that I was hoping for, where it's him like wandering through this city, kind of like looking almost like the Joker, like just smiling and like being like in his element because he's all peaceful and everyone else is dying around him. We don't get that fun scene, but we do get a great Celebrimbor scene where he like realizes what's going on, and he is. He's disgusted with himself. He is really sad about what's happened, but he's like disgusted with like the state of his workshop. How the heck was he getting anything done in such a cruddy forge? Like everything's broken now. He's down to like just his fire and the table he's working at. Everything else is broken because he's been bombarded by catapults. He actually breaks down and cries about like the state of this, which I actually think is a good touch, because obviously the true conflict is that Sauron, and we got to be mad at him. But and
I feel bad for Celebrimbor.
Right,
yeah.
and for a moment he's disgusted with himself. He's disgusted with the state of his forge, and he's sad. Like the state of his forge, like this was like he spent his life building things, and he eventually was able to get the dwarves to help him build this forge, where he was able to make these rings. Like this forge was like his home, and it's broken, and for a moment he is just so overcome with grief for his home and just his identity. And then he realizes, like, hey, there's still Sauron standing over here.
Oh, and the mithril was an illusion. It was just his blood, which makes sense.
Yep.
That's what they were doing in the other one.
Yep. Because, like, yeah, he didn't get any mithril. Now, that begs the question, why did Sauron even go to visit the dwarves?
I don't know. Good
so
question.
This is what, like, was his intent? I mean, I guess the idea was mithril would make the rings better anyway, but I don't need mithril to like corrupt humans because they're so simple and dumb. I guess that's the idea, but it seems like a long way to go, to not get mithril and not care if he gets it or not. And then yeah, it's just a jar of his own blood that looked like mithril. Honestly, there's a scene. There would have been a really cool scene where Celebrimbor is like in his own little simulation. He's like pouring out into his hand like little bits of mithril, and then it cuts to him just like his hands are covered in blood as he's like tinkering with a ring. That would have been a fun little scene to throw in as well, because like. I don't even know how this worked, because he thought he was working with like hardened a hardened substance found in the depths of the earth from the mines, and instead he's just working with liquid. So he's like pouring it into things. Like it would have been just really strange to see. And he finally gets to go outside and see the state of his beautiful city Region, and then boom, he gets blown.
But you did miss an important line.
Oh.
That Anatar tells Celebrimbor the one thing he learned from him was that true creation requires sacrifice.
Oh, you're right. That is a good line. I mean, we knew where the blood came from, but you're right. That is a good line. I did like that line. And so yeah, I agree. It's a good one. But yeah, so Celebrimbor, he walks out of his tower for the first time in like a week or something, and immediately gets knocked over by a catapult that hits the stairs.
Then they do the tinnitus sound effect thing.
Yeah, the classic tinnitus. I do wish he got a little bit more time to walk through that city. Like I said, I think it would have been like, I know we already given this actor a lot in his own workshop to be sad about, but now he gets to be sad at the fact that he's failed his people, and instead he gets blown up right away, and then when he comes to, it doesn't exactly go very well for him. So I just wish he had some time to like roam around his city a little bit. But yeah, so now he's now like frantic. He gets up, he's frantic, running around the battlements as some ladder. So there are some ladder orcs here. Like they've put up ladders, and this is when he gets to Mordania. I don't know what she is to all this. I guess she's like his like second in command, or like, you know, personal assistant that like, because he goes right to her, and where he talks about how he was in a prison of the mind, but I'm out now, and you know, we're gonna figure this out. He must have been, you know, distracted by the siege.
She just thinks he's crazy.
Yeah, he forgot about the mouse. It was the same mouse, Mordania. You don't understand. It's the mouse. So, like, we get a bit of the scene I was asking for, but I think it would have been fun if she had entered the forge to see him start freaking out about the mouse. He's holding a mouse and a candle. It's the same mouse, and look at this candle. It hasn't moved at all. Yeah, it's all a loop, where it's all a loop or something like that. And then she's like, oh my god, he is gone. Because remember, we just, like, right at the beginning, we had that scene where her and Sauron are talking, and he's like, yeah, Celebrimbor's mind is fully gone. I thought it would be fun to have her enter and just like check for herself and have him go crazy like that. Like, it's the same mouse and the candle. Look at this. But yeah, so you have to believe me, Redania. That's what he's like. He's completely insane, which I guess it kind of makes sense. He's been in this. He literally just woke up one day, and instead of everything being perfect, the city's under attack, and it's all his fault, kind of thing. So I could see him over explaining what happened and making it seem crazy the way he does here.
Yeah, like get together, Celebrimbor.
Yeah, like
try to do this in a way it doesn't.
Yeah, like honestly, if he was able, if he was a bit more with it, because like he was in his own mind for so long. If he was a bit more with it, I don't think he would talk about the mouse to Merdania on the battlements while you're under siege. I don't think
just stick to like.
Just say.
Hey, I was. This guy's
honestly,
Sauron.
just say something's wrong with Anatar. He's Sauron.
You should be starting with Anatar's Sauron.
Yeah. Instead, it's like there's a mouse and a candle, and it's the same.
Yeah.
And this is when we get to see the Ravager as well. So they find the thinnest part of the wall. They hammer in these giant spikes that are on a chain, and then when they pull this lever, somehow there's a mechanism inside that like pulls the wall down, essentially. So they're trying to like kill the guys operating it. Now, okay, here's another thing. Here's another issue I have here. I know this is a big moment where it's going to be Celebrimbor's word versus Anatar's word. But if you watch this scene, the urgency with which some of these elves are fighting, it leaves a little bit on the table. Like they're casually shooting arrows. Like I'm thinking back to like even the Battle of Helm's Deep, for example. Even though like Gimli and like there wasn't even any orcs on the battlefield yet, people were actually like firing arrows like it was a battle. Here, everything's just a little too casual. Like in this scene, you've got Celebrimbor talking to Merdania, who Merdania's not even like in the battle. She's just on the battlements, which is insane, considering that the orcs are shooting trebuchets and arrows at them. But also, there are other elves just gathering around as they talk. And there are orcs climbing the wall right beside you. Well, I cannot think of a worse place to stand and talk about stuff. Like, what if an orc just comes up and just kills Celebrimbor right now? Because like the orcs are climbing ladders right beside him, but everyone's just like chill. Now he can be kind of crazy. He is Celebrimbor, and he was insane. Like he was trapped in his own mind. But these other elves have no excuse. Orcs are coming for you. It's like I don't know. To me, like that's the issue. Go back and watch it. I will tell you the time code. It's 22 minutes and 25 seconds. Watch the entire scene. This is where Anatar arrives. So Celebrimbor just went crazy. He was talking to Merdania. And more elves show up to listen to him. Then Anatar arrives, and the elves in the background shoot like one arrow every 30 seconds. That's insane to me. Like it's gotta be like quick draw. Like what's going on here? Anyway, that's just a side tangent about battles. Let's get back to what's going on here. This is where Celebrimbor has this awesome moment. He yells, "Seize him!" to these guys that are just like listening. Seize him. He's Sauron. He's been lying to you all along. And, obviously it's not going to work because all of the undercutting that Sauron has been doing. So Merdania is like, now he's been protecting us, but you've just been up in your tower. The orders you gave would have doomed us all. And this and then
even though Anatar's been the middleman the entire time.
Yeah, so this is the other thing. So I'm like, okay, I get like in the heat of the moment, maybe you like don't fully go through that rationale, but exactly like you said, how do we know that Celebrimbor has been...
You have no idea what Celebrimbor...
Because no one else has spoken to him. For all, like, honestly, there could have been an alternate story here where we don't get this scene and Sauron just kills Celebrimbor after he makes the rings. And after the battle or whatever, Merdania like wanders in and sees him dead. Like, because these people haven't talked to him in a week. This is where he's got like the whole ploy he cut his hand open, and we'll see he bleeds black just like orcs, and somehow Sauron is able to like either change the color of his blood, which maybe, or like
It's an illusion, yeah.
or brainwash everyone or something. I think it's more just like he illusioned it on his hand right there. But then, okay, what the hell happens here? So, okay, do you know what I'm talking about? So essentially, okay, how do I explain this? Sauron holds his hand up. It's got red blood. So then, Celebrimbor starts babbling incoherently. Mordania then touches his arm and is like, come, it's okay, come my lord, let's get you back to your tower and let's get you some rest. So she's like being nice to him, obviously kind of placating, kind of babying him a little bit. So she doesn't believe him. Now, I know Celebrimbor is freaking out. He's like, Sauron is literally right there, why won't anyone believe me? He freaks out and yells, get your hands off me, and launches her over the wall.
Well, Sauron's the one who threw her.
No,
because you see him like twist his hand. He throws her off, but he does it pretty lightly.
Oh, so like somehow Sauron like magicked that a little bit.
Sauron magicked it, yeah. Celebrimbor kind of like brushed her off more. He didn't aggressively throw her.
Oh, okay.
Off, but then Sauron's in the back doing like his force moves, and he makes it look like Celebrimbor threw her.
Okay, yeah. So I must have missed it. I must have like was looking down at my notes when they must have snapped to it or something like that.
Yeah.
Because all I see is her go, it's okay, Celebrimbor, and then he goes, get off of me, and launches her over the wall. I'm like, what a weird reaction from Celebrimbor. But you're saying that Sauron is actually the one behind it, and so when we cut back to Celebrimbor, who looks, because she dies. Spoilers. Yes. She's dead. When we cut back to Celebrimbor, he is completely, he doesn't even understand what happened himself. And he's in shock. Like, how did that just happen? And now, everyone is gonna turn on him. But again, like the urgency of all these elves around them, they're just watching this talk between Celebrimbor and Sauron now. Because he talks, I guess he's talking, but only Celebrimbor can hear him.
Because he's telling him to finish off the 9.
Because he says...
I think everyone else would be wondering, like, what?
There are elves. There's like 5 elves in a circle around them watching this, not even fighting. And he's like, finish the 9 and I will spare your city. And it's like, holy crap, he is Sauron, guys. Get him. But no, nobody, like, it must be, they must have like gone into his mind or something again to do this communication. I think this would have been a cool moment to do an internal dialogue.
Like that was a thing with Mordania. It felt like I kind of wanted her to realize it was Sauron before she died, and I don't know if she did.
No, because like when we first met her, she did notice some things.
It feels like a lack of justice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of was hoping too that she would have been able to at least see it.
You can kill her, but just make her know the truth before the end. Like, oh, that was Sauron.
Yeah. No, exactly. And this is fully the fault of her being on the battlements when she's not even a soldier. Like, why was she up there?
You're right. She didn't really have much business being up there.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And so again, like so as much as this episode might be the best, I do think this battle has major issues. And we've already talked about some of them, and we'll get to more. But yeah, so this is where Celebrimbor asks a dumb question. Okay, so I'm gonna put myself in Celebrimbor's shoes. Not that I think I'm a great elven smith or anything, but if Sauron tells me, finish the 9 rings and I will spare your city, my first question isn't going to be, what will you do with them? Evil things, Celebrimbor, evil things. He's gonna do bad things with these rings.
Yeah.
Who cares what he's gonna do with them?
Oh, then he says, create a perfect and lasting peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why even ask? He's gonna just tell you garbage like that. So like Celebrimbor's like, I don't believe you, and you know, he starts being hauled away by his own men who listen to that conversation, mind you. And this is when we get
This guy sounds kind of sorry.
this guy
Don't worry
is
about it.
this guy's
That's above my pay grade.
yeah. Yeah, it's hey guys, is this guy sketching you guys out? No, Anatar, he's legit. Like, we're gonna go with Anatar here. What rings is he talking about?
It's not my problem.
Yeah, we don't know what rings he's talking about. Why did he just threaten our city? I don't know, but let's go with Anatar on this one, guys. But yeah, so then we get a surprise to honestly me and everyone else. I mean, I say surprise. Yeah, so I knew the elves were gonna arrive. We saw it in the trailer. This is why I hate watching trailers, but I do it for this because I like to talk about it with you. But the elves arrive, which I knew they would, and I actually think this scene was really good up until a moment when the charge is stopped. So the elves. Okay, well, first of all, I will point out one thing: the elves ruin their surprise attack. So they blow their horn, which is fine. You know, you can blow your horn to like signal your troops to charge, but then they kind of like form up and let the orcs reposition. And if you noticed in the original trilogy, both times there is a charge on horseback. The first time is in Helm's Deep. At the first light on the 5th day, and that's an exceptional charge, perfectly timed with the sunlight to blind the orcs. Beautiful. Yes, you form up, but the orcs didn't really have that much time to like reposition. Like maybe a few of them got turned around, but there's a lot of the orcs that are just not prepared for it. And then the charge at Minas Tirith, there's a little bit more time. But the army is so vast and moving forward, like they barely even turn to fight the charge from Rohan. So I thought there'd be a little bit more strategy like that, because here the elves blow their horn, form up, the orcs form up, and then there's a bit of a delay. Then they start to gallop and charge in. Okay, fine. I'm fine with the giving the orcs a little bit of a heads up, whatever. I don't like how the charge is thwarted, though. Also, why is Elrond commanding the army? I know he was put in charge of that group of 5, but Gil-galad's here. Like, Gil-galad should have given a speech.
So I've heard other people question this too, and people are wondering if this was like Gil-galad was inserted later in a reshoot after they already filmed the charge.
Oh, you could be right.
Maybe Gil-galad was not originally there when they were right.
Because he's not in the. He's not in. I don't believe he's in. I'm watching it right now, just as we talk about it, that scene, and he's not in the charge. At least I can't. I can't see him identified, but I can clearly see Elrond. So I do. They could be right. I think that's a huge misstep on the writing part, because Gil-galad should be leading this charge. And I think we should have gotten at least a tiny speech, similar to,
like a death.
Something like that. Like not just yelling death, but like just a little bit of like, something like, we have to rid Eregion of this filth, and, like,
come on, you maggots, let's charge.
Something more elvish, something more light and fluffy and mystical. But yeah, just something that inspires your troops. And so then the elves are charging, and the orcs are formed up, ready to fight. And
they have like a little cart rolled up.
They have a little cart, and they're like, "Get ready to unleash our biggest weapon." Locked up Galadriel. And okay, how does this? I know they're gonna kill her, but this charge is stopped so easily.
You're right. it's like it should be stopping a train. You can't just make everyone halt.
If they're
Like,
gonna
it's
do
too.
this, that you don't let the elves even start the charge. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's not realistic. Yeah.
That's how I would have done this.
Because you can't just have everyone stop.
Yeah, because
And unless it's elves, maybe elves are that good. Maybe
well,
elves
that's
can't
the thing
stop.
is like with
Yeah.
elves, maybe they are that good, but Elrond like mutters stop under his breath, and the entire company halts instantly.
Yeah, because
Um,
what would happen is Elrond stops and everyone gets, and then he just gets trampled by everyone
that's right.
behind
That's
him.
right. You can't like you'd have to hold it up for a little bit to be like and start
Yeah.
slowing down, but everyone stops like abruptly. And also, if you're gonna do this, Adar, why did you pull so many troops away from the front line when all you were gonna do is reveal you had Galadriel and like, oh, you can't kill us because we'll kill her. Now, I have another question. Does anyone care? Okay, how do I phrase this? I gotta be careful that I could get yelled at by everyone. There'd be like no one that agrees with me on this take, but okay. Gil-galad has already sent Galadriel away, and she disobeyed an order. Then she was potentially corrupted by Sauron, so she's lost her command of the army. Elrond now has the command of the army. If she dies, she just goes to the Undying Lands.
But maybe they're not doing that because it made me think about like, because her brother died, and then how come he's not just reincarnated in Valinor?
Is he not?
No, because then why would she care about avenging him?
Well, I'm so confused. So why?
It's very vague what happened. I guess I don't know.
Which I'm fine with it being vague, but then also they can't double it up where they go sometimes, you're gonna get to see them again, but other times no. I'm kind of confused because I would have just thought, okay, if you kill her, she'll be in the Undying Lands or whatever, and I'll see her later. But like, we're gonna kill these orcs now. But instead, they stop and they treat with the orcs. Again, I have to reiterate, a siege is going on.
Yeah.
I am. Why are there people in these trenches? First of all, why are there trenches? Second of all, I thought orcs couldn't go in the sunlight, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And third of
Yeah.
all, why are there so
Especially,
many?
I mean, we'll get to it. I especially noticed that at the end because
Yeah.
the sun's coming over the ridge. I'm like, well, and I didn't even think they were like waiting for the army. They're just like, hey, it's daylight. We're good.
Yeah, the orcs seem to be waiting for daylight to even fight. It's so strange. But also, why are there so many in this little trench encampment? A part of this like meeting between the elves and Adar. Like they're currently storming Eregion, but now we're sitting that like so the pacing and timing of these scenes. I think they should have sat down and planned this out a lot more the way Peter Jackson did with his battles, because he wanted to make sure when he cut away and cut back, it felt as though, you were away for 5 minutes and you've come back 5 minutes later, and so a few things have progressed, but not too much. Here, I can't even keep track about how much time has passed. Like, how much time has that Ravager had at pulling down the wall yet?
No idea.
You know what I mean? So I just, as an audience member, this is really jarring to me. Now, maybe it's just me, because I really do like watching these battle scenes and analyzing them from a historical perspective, and this one to me is really off. But it just really it makes it hard for me to even follow the action because of I'm still trying to figure out like what is the current state of the wall? What should the elves be thinking about? What should the orcs be thinking about? Why is Adar so calm here? Like the orcs might be already breached the wall and killed Sauron. Well, you can't kill Sauron, but like you know what I mean? Like they might already be there. And here he is trying to like negotiate the ring. It seems weird. But yeah, so I guess we should talk about this whole scene, right? So they have Galadriel chained up in a corner. We have
holding a spear to her throat.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, right, okay. So yeah, let's talk about that because what he says is, she says don't like talk to him or don't listen to him or something like that to Elrond, and then Adar says if she speaks again, cut out her tongue. And then the orc grabs his knife or his spear or whatever and like shoves it to her throat as if he's gonna kill her. Now the problem is you can't kill her. She is your only leverage. Like the leverage is we're gonna trade her life for the ring, or like her life for our lives so you don't kill us. He can't kill her. Imagine if she says something now and that orc kills Galadriel. Well, all right, deal's off. Like we're just gonna kill all these orcs now. Like there's no.
Yeah, I know.
This is such a feeble ploy by the orcs to like show strength.
But I think that actually would get her to shut up because it's not. Because the orc would do it.
Oh, it might. You're right. It absolutely might. But again, Adar said cut out her tongue, not kill her. The orc then goes, I'm just gonna kill her. And all of this is moot.
That would be funny. I said cut out her tongue, not kill her.
That's exactly. I was thinking about like how you could like Spaceballs this. It'd be such a fun scene where she says something again and he just stabs her. He's like, I said cut out her tongue, not kill her. Now we have nothing. And then the elves just come in and wipe them out. So that's the setup. So Elrond's here trying to, I guess, negotiate her life. I don't even know why he agreed to this, because like, what are you really gonna negotiate here? Like, you know what he's gonna want. I guess you could try to say, hey, we won't kill you if you just leave. But
well, and also, like Adar seems like someone you can talk to.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Elrond say, hey, you're not getting the ring, but let's find a way to work together and get this Sauron guy.
Right, so maybe that's...
Adar really wants the ring and to do it himself.
Yeah.
That's what they're fighting over.
Yeah. Now, he says a few weird things here that I just want to, I think Elrond maybe needed some other negotiators with him, because if I was sitting down, and I'm putting myself in an elf perspective, if I'm sitting down talking to this head honcho orc that used to be an elf, and he says, my forces will outmaneuver you, my forces will outfight you, and you will fail. I just want to point out, you're orcs, we're elves. We're way better than you at everything. Every aspect. Like, from strength, to agility, to endurance, to our senses. We are better and superior to orcs. That statement is false. That is 100% not true. And Elrond just, like, doesn't push back on this, like, line of negotiation. Like, he goes with, we'll have painted the sands of the Glanduin black. But I'll point out also the fact that you're just straight up going to win this battle. This is just, like, a legion of mindless orcs with Adar. It's not even like the properly structured orcs of Sauron that we know about. The elves would decimate these guys. I'm sorry. It's not even a competition, which we'll eventually get to and talk about it. And this is where it gets really weird to me. And I know the show's been setting this up, so I'm not even going to fault the writers for, like, not foreshadowing this. I think they foreshadowed this brilliantly. Elrond goes, he says something along the lines of, not before we paint the ground black with the blood of orcs. Is that really what you want for your people? And then it cuts to the orc that is holding Galadriel, and he's all like, oh my god, he's right. Like, oh, we might die in this fight. What the heck? You're an orc. Act like it. Obviously, he's just...
That's the one with the wife and kid, though.
Yeah, but... but, okay, he's holding a knife to a female elf right now, and he gets shaken by Elrond saying, we're gonna kill a bunch of orcs? Like, that's insane. That wouldn't work on any human army. I am so shocked that is, like, actually unnerving an orc. It doesn't make sense to me. Orcs can be unnerved.
It's obvious, because that would happen, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's a battle, so they're gonna die.
Some orcs have already died. Like, if you look out on the battlefield, orcs have died. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's like this guy's never been to a battle before. I don't understand. So this is where Adar then comes... Okay, so I don't know if... I haven't watched too many people review this. I've just sort of seen their titles, and a lot of them are praising the episode. I'm wondering if any of them also talk about this, but Adar is reinforcing the fact that these orcs have been through a lot of stuff, like a lot of shit, and even the bravest elf couldn't even hear about what we've been through. And it's got this whole victim complex going on. And while I'm sure